So brief intro and overview. I want to say starters, congratulations for all you guys for taking the first step. The fact that you guys are here right now is incredible. And truly the hardest part of the journey is just committing to start. I can't tell you how many people want to actually change but never take action on it. So be proud of that fact. I'm very happy for the attendees that are here today. I'm going to talk about, as I mentioned, timeless principles and tactics. My aim is to make this as straightforward as possible. Do what we teach you consistently, just consistently implement what we teach you. And there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to get a client or clients at the end of our time working together. I want to set some expectations. So some of you faster than others, and some of you have more experience than others, but put your blinders on. One of the biggest places I find anybody goes wrong in the beginning of sales, whether it be to get their first agency clients or to scale a business or to scale a new product line, is that you're too busy comparing yourself or looking at the guy next to you and where they're at. Put your blinders on, focus on yourself. And for the time being, it's you against you. The only thing that matters is that you guys did better than you did yesterday. So without a doubt, the things you learn here today are timeless. They work. And so we're going to give you the principles. And all I need you guys is just, for the time being, focus on yourself and taking the actions you can do and things that make sense for you. You'll piece it together. Someone else will piece their thing, and we'll work together on this. Can I get a 2 that you guys are willing to commit to, making this work for yourself and not getting distracted by the people? Draw a 2 in the chat. Sweet. Love it. Okay. And the next thing, expectation wise, the fastest way to get results with everything we teach, it's really simple, but it's just to engage. You guys have really good support that comes with this, with the platform and personal support, these live calls. So engage, ask questions on these live calls. If ever I cover something you guys don't understand or one of you guys don't get, drop that question in the chat immediately. I want to make sure that you guys are getting the most value out of our time together. The best members are the most active, and their mind is completely consumed with generating results and generating results for themselves relative to what they know. Once again, blinders on. How can I make this work for me? Not how can I make this work for them? How did they get those results? How can I get my results? How can I get my first client? So if you're willing to give us feedback and ask questions, and as Alex said, this AI platform, it is fed by your data. We will we'll continue to develop and make it stronger and easier for you guys, but you guys need to engage and give it that data. So we are all developing in this together. So if you're willing to give us feedback and ask questions, once again, there are no bad questions. Some of you are experienced, some of you are brand new. Go ahead and drop a 2 in the chat if you promise to engage and ask questions. If you go through this shamelessly, ask any questions that come to your mind, drop a 2 in the chat if you're willing to do that for me so we can make these presentations as helpful as possible. Okay, love it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into point 1. So if you guys have a notepad, pretty much what we're going to talk about today, sales and prospecting fundamentals. We're going to talk about building your 1.0 sales machine. And then we're going to talk about building your 1.0 sales machine outreach assets. So making those things you'll send out to a business owner. And then I'll give you guys some handy takeaways. And if we've got more time, we'll talk about more. We might cover it all. We might not cover it all, but let's go ahead and jump in. Also, I sometimes find that I talk fast. So once again, if I say anything too quickly, drop your questions in the chat. We can double back. I'll be sure to answer them. And I want to make sure all of you guys leave here with as much, or I got everything that you wanted out of these presentations. So this is for you guys, not for me. Sales and prospecting fundamentals. If you have a pen and paper, write these down. I want to start with these because if these are forgotten, your whole journey will be way more difficult, more complex than it needs to be. So if you remember these at all points in times, or when in doubt, come back to your fundamentals. Guarantee you'll be able to find a way through. Our aim is to arm you with the weapons and tools. So first principle, consistency. People live crazy lives. I'm talking about your potential customers, the businesses and people out there that you will be giving your services to. They live crazy lives. So it's important that you are consistent in your effort. Just because you talk with someone and they don't buy now doesn't mean that they won't. But if you are consistent, there's a lot of power in just being there when someone is in the position to buy. For example, you only need to you need to be the person that's there when people want to buy. Play the long game. Be comfortable building the name and the brand and everything for yourself and getting your business recognized for what it is that you guys do, for being a marketer or for whatever niche. And we'll talk about that more later. But be the one who's still around when people want to buy. Play the long game. There's a lot of power in that. A lot of the market goes to the people who just stay in the market. So many people come and go. And some of you guys have heard of online business services. One of the biggest fears is, I don't know if you guys will be around for that long. So be that one person who's willing to play the long game. Consistency. You only need to get rich once, and you only need one business to get there, but you must stick with it. This is another reason why consistency is important. You guys, regardless of what your goal is, you can most likely hit it through mastering the things we're going to teach you. but you need to stay consistent with hitting it with the things that we teach. You only need to get rich once, and you only need one business to get there, but you must stick with it. Bezos only had one business that brought him up there. Amazon. Gates had one business. Microsoft. Musk got there with PayPal, and then he got rich and did all these other things. Once you guys get rich, then you can do whatever the heck you want. We've got Alex here, for example. He's got Deal and all these other fun things he's done. But how did he get there originally? Through some of his original businesses, Zeus being one of them. You only need to get it right once, and you only need one business to get there. But you have to be consistent. There's going to be ups and downs. It's not always going to be fun. Same thing, Howard Schultz with Starbucks. Was Starbucks fun and easy? No, it never is. But if you stick with it and be the one who's there the longest, without a doubt, you will win. Principle 1, consistency. Any questions on that? If not, drop a 2, and we'll roll into the second one, volume. Sweet. Love it, seeing that come in. If you guys have any questions, drop them now on consistency. If not, drop a 2. We'll keep rolling to volume. Perfect. We've got Terry. Okay, cool. Principle number 2, volume. So most businesses suffer, or most people don't suffer because of lack of skills or lack of brains, but lack of distribution. This is one that you probably haven't seen before. If you guys have seen before, let me know. But most businesses out there don't suffer because you're not good enough at providing the skill. You don't know enough about what you're doing. It's not because it's not something you don't know. Not enough people actually know about the fact that you are good at these things. Have you ever heard a song or an artist that you knew would absolutely be a smash hit if more people knew them? Probably. So prioritize getting more exposure and getting your name known. Always figure out ways to give more, do more, and be better known and better recognized for the things that you have to offer. So volume is always going to beat skills in the beginning. The person who gets the most volume and is around the longest will win the majority of the market. So how does this apply for you? Well, let's say you're marketing locally. Let's say you have something specific. Let's say you're doing for pizza shops. Well, if you've been the marketing agency that's been around the longest, or been the agency providing the services the longest for pizza shops, people will trust you by default. Or if you're the new guy in town, but everybody knows about you, once again, you're going to get the majority of the business, majority of the customers. So attention is the most important thing. So volume is going to be consistency in the beginning. And then the third point, all prospecting methods work. We're going to teach you a bunch of them as we go through this. We've got cold calling, cold email, DM, and paid ads and other strategies as well. But all of these methods work. There's not one that really beats the other. This is a place I see a lot of people go wrong, is there isn't one magic method that will really work better than others. But the one that works best is the one that, once again, you stay to and stay committed to and use with enough volume. If you're doing cold email, commit to doing cold email, and cold email everybody that you possibly can. Be the most known through your emails, and you will work. Same thing with cold calling. Same thing with cold DM, and all the prospecting strategies we teach you. Same thing with paid ads. If you're going to run paid ads locally, buy all the media locally and be recognized for that thing. And be buying all the media the longest, and I guarantee that you will win. So if you learn methods or have learned one in the past, we're here to enhance them. Speaking of volume, question in the chat from Marcus. Do you think cold email outreach is too saturated? Any thoughts on strategies and how to stand out? Yes, so we'll talk about that today. So once again, there's not one method that doesn't work. There's no really, I don't believe in such thing as saturation. Sometimes things will be more competitive, but we'll talk about today how to make yourself stand out. That's part of the reason why I've actually built these incredible AI tools, is to help with that. If you guys are unsure of, how do I stand out providing these services? Well, you have a hyper intelligent tool that you can tell what it is that you do. Based off of all the information, knows worldly, what is an angle approach that you can take, but we'll talk about that a little bit later today. But all the methods work. And if you've learned methods from the past, everything that you're going to learn here today is going to enhance them with the tools and things that we've built. Or if you're learning other ones outside of the ones we teach you, come here, we will enhance them with everything that we provide with you guys with AI and the specific knowledge on sales. And understand too, that when it comes to prospecting methods, Marcus, like you asked, do you believe it's saturated? Doubt is a completely normal part of the process. Doubt in business and the things you try and the things you experiment with is completely normal. It is part of really being an entrepreneur. It's pretty much like walking around with a rock in your shoe. You just get used to it being there. You don't worry about taking it out. Don't put too much focus to it. You just get used to it being there. Regardless of how good you get, I guarantee you it will never go away. There will never be a new thing that you launch that I'm not sure how exactly we will. And there's no reason for you to. It hasn't been tried yet. So be comfortable with doubt and knowing that all the methods we teach you work. Saturation, don't worry about that. We'll teach you how to stand out. We'll arm you with everything you guys need to be able to be effective at that, and be comfortable with the doubt when you begin. You might try something thinking that, hey, this might not work, but stick with it. Give it a lot of volume, give it a lot of consistency, and I guarantee that it will work on the other end of it. Next point, flow versus resistance. You want to stay in flow and keep moving things forward. Here's a rule, a principle, or a rule that I want you guys to abide by as we're going through this. You should never spend more than 1 day making or creating something we teach you. If you have a website, never spend more than 1 day trying to make it. If it's cold email copy, never spend more than 1 day. There is more value in a good solution today than a perfect solution tomorrow. It is a race to getting your ideas and your visions out to the market in volume quickly. If you have the all right solution, but everybody knows about it, for example, McDonald's versus the specific niche, burger spot that you might have in your town that you love, who's winning and who's making more money? Probably McDonald's. Why? Because they are the most known and they've probably been in the game longer. Now, is the quality of what they produce better? No, but everybody knows about them, and that gives them the certainty knowing it's consistent, and they've been around the longest, meaning that, hey, it's probably decent, as opposed to the little boutique guy that might be Michelin 5-star, but isn't doing the same revenue numbers that McDonald's is with their half-priced or their all-right burgers. Case in point, I'd rather have you guys be the McDonald's where you are making money hand over fist because you are the best known and you're getting the most exposure to people than that one little boutique guy that, once again, might not be getting all the interest in the world and might have 1 or 2 clients. The volume is going to, or the wealth or the money is going to come from having a broad set of customers or a lot of customers, the most customers. There's value in that. And come the day that you want to exit your business, the person who has more customer flow is going to be able to get more for their business because they're less risky, because there's less ways the business can fail. If you're predicated on maybe 2-3 clients to give you revenue each month, that's a risky position for you to be in. Same thing, if you look at Alex with the products he produces, Zeus, is it for one specific demographic? No, it's for men and women globally. I want to have customers all over the place. So if the US market drops, I'm backed by other markets. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be a global business or a global company, but understand the point that you want to have as many customers as possible in your niche and be the most known and be around the longest. Then the final principle, you are only solving problems. You are only solving problems and nothing more. I cannot stress this enough. This goes for sales professionals. This goes for business tactics. You only ever want to provide a solution to a problem and nothing more. Too often, I find people get focused on how good or how unique their system is, but lose sight of the problem that they are solving. You should only focus all of your efforts on being the person who solves the problem. Once again, back to the McDonald's analogy. Why does McDonald's work? It solves the problem. You're hungry before you show up, you're not hungry, and you enjoy the food when you eat it, period. Does it look great? Does it sexy? Is it great for you? No. But what does it do? It solves the problem consistently, and they've been doing it for a long time. And that will always outperform, the one boutique, really special, really specific recipe thing. And the other thing is, the more specialized you get, the more niche your customers become, the harder they become to find. You just want to be good at solving the problem that everybody has in your market, and then everybody will come to you because you solve that problem really well, and you don't have to limit your customers or have restrictions. Being too niche can sometimes hurt you. But this is a problem that I see a lot of people get stuck in, is that they're too focused on being really unique or really special in their services. You don't need a special service. You just need to be the service that everybody knows about, or everybody needs to be aware that you provide that service. You need to provide that service longer than everybody else. Everybody wants things. And the reason why behind this too is everybody wants things. Every consumer wants things. Every business owner wants things. I want more customers. I want more of this. Everybody is curious to learn more about what's to come, the innovations, the stuff that's in the market, to learn new things. But there are very few things that people actually need and must have. You want to be in the needs and must-have category. For example, I had a friend of the family who used to run a manufacturing business. Is manufacturing a fun business? The job of just, putting 2 pieces of metal together and putting plastic in between? No, it's not fun. It's not a special business. But what did he do? Well, 1, he'd been in business for a long time, but 2, he solved a problem, a very specific problem for a very specific industry. He made specific medical devices. He didn't make anything else. He just made plastic medical grade manufacturing. And what was he able to do? He was able to charge more, and he was more successful. And also, he did a really good job at letting all the hospitals know that, hey, I make these things, and he'd been doing it for 30, 40 years. And so what advantages did they give him? 1, he was the most well-known for it. 2, he was one of the only people providing it. And 3, these specific plastic medical things that he made, not a lot of people knew how to make them because they were difficult. It was a really challenging problem to make these things. But all he did was focus on solving the problem. He didn't provide anything special. He just made one specific product, and he was able to exit his business for several 8 figures in revenue. Now, if you guys aspire to do the same, right, you need to find a good problem to solve. But the point being is you just need to solve the problem. You don't need to provide anything else. I know people who ran manufacturing companies. He told me about his competitors that did a broad array of products or unique things, or provide these special upsells or delivery bonuses and whatnot. And it just didn't work out well. Their margins were really thin. They were commoditized. Once again, he solved a very specific problem that a lot of people had, and that's all he did was only that. And he was able to charge more. He did it for a long time, and he completely owned the market in my state for it. So everybody wants things, but there are very few things people need and must have. Hospitals, they needed this product, and so he was able to charge a handsome amount for it. So problems today and now don't go away. That's another reason why you only want to solve problems. A hole in the wall, if I punch a hole in the wall, it doesn't matter how I feel or what I think about it, that hole will be there until it's fixed. But, if let's say I want a new iPhone, desire changes with the time and the seasons. Where let's say I want a new iPhone when it comes out. Well, it doesn't matter how I feel, because some other new tech will eventually come out. Well, I want the iPhone and I think it's cool, but maybe, maybe I want a new MacBook, maybe I want a new iPad. Actually, maybe my phone's just fine. But if my phone's smashed and broken, well, I need a new phone. That's a problem today, a problem I need now. And so I say this because as you guys pick your industries and your niches, which we're going to talk about in building your 1.0 sales machine, I need you to think only about the problem that you are going to solve. You don't need to be the best at solving it. You just need to solve it. And I need you to think, how can you get more people to know that you solve that problem? And how can you stay committed to solving that problem for a long period of time? If you get those three things, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to land a client. Cool. That is it for principles and sales prospecting fundamentals. If you have any questions, drop them now. I'll be happy to double down. Then we're going to talk about building your 1.0 sales machine, talk about building your niche, your offer, your angle, and the client attraction process. If you guys don't have any questions, if you do, drop them in the chat. If you don't, put a 2 in the chat for me, and we'll talk about building your 1.0 sales machine. Excellent. Love it. So let's go into building your 1.0 sales machine. The reason why I call it building your 1.0 sales machine is because I want to talk about how you're going to communicate your value. One of the biggest questions I've seen for people who enter this space is, what do I sell? How do I tell people I sell this thing? Maybe you guys aren't super extroverted. Maybe you're not comfortable talking to new people. Maybe you're a bit more introverted. So let's talk about how you communicate your value. This is a tried and true approach that should be universal regardless of your comfort level with other humans. We're going to teach you different prospecting methods or way of finding potential customers that play to the different demographics of you that are here. But communicating your value is key, because like one of you guys asked earlier, I believe it was Marcus. He said, there is a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of people trying to sell services similar to you. So how do you stand out? Well, it comes to communicating your value differently. A lot of people aren't as original, and a lot of people don't use AI. So you guys have got that to your advantage. But so there's really 4 key parts that you need to get right in communicating your value. And I want to do this with you live. Let's see if I can create actually, I'll do some of the other stuff with you live, but I want you guys to take notes and come along with it. Let's talk about your niche. That's the first piece you need to get right, understanding who you are going to help. If you don't know who you're going to help, I don't know how you're going to make money. So understanding your niche. Once again, your niche was sometimes dynamic. So some of you guys might think, oh, I don't know what niche, I don't know. It's okay. Just pick one. You can always pivot and move it. How you sell it and how you communicate your value will be the same regardless of your niche. It's the principles that stay the same. The places you use them might be different. Then you have your offer, what you guys are actually offering to these people. Now, an offer isn't about just what you're actually giving them. A lot of it's actually how you are giving it to them, which brings me to the point, which is your angle. The difference between an offer and angle: an offer is what you're giving them. It's what they get. The angle is how you present that to them. The difference between free plus shipping, as in versus it costs some money and you're going to have to pay for it, or it costs some money and shipping is free. There's a different angle there. If you guys have seen the free plus shipping offer, the reason why that worked well is it was a new angle. Nobody ever heard of that. I get the product for free. I just got to pay for shipping. Little did you know the product's cost was the price of the shipping. But the reason why it worked is because it was just a different angle. One of the best ways to get attention is get really good at mastering angles. So if you don't know that, write that down. And part of what Alex taught you guys on Sunday, this whole idea of magic hooks, is angles, is really that, playing around with different ways of saying the same thing. Sell me a car without saying it's got 4 doors, 4 wheels, and an engine, and it gets me from point A to point B. If you can master that, you will never run out of ways to get people's attention. People are always curious to learn about that new thing. So mastering your angle, the difference between angle and offer. Offers what they get, angles how you tell that, how you explain it to them. And then your client attraction process. Once you know who you're helping, what you're helping, and how you're telling them, then you have to go ahead and get that message in front of people. So niche. I'm curious. Drop in the chat if you guys have a niche. If you know your niche, drop that in the chat. If you know who you want to help or have experience in industry. Perry, you mentioned music. Drop in the chat what your niche is. If you don't have one, say still figuring it out. I'm curious to see what you guys are working in or curious in. If you know what you are in, go ahead and drop it in the chat. If you don't, write still figuring it out. It's okay if you're still figuring it out. It's easy to find these. Restaurant, real estate, tourism, healthcare and staffing. Interesting one. Okay. Still figuring it out. All right. Sneaker and cleaning products. Actually, I've got a good friend who's in that industry. Investors and IT. I'm a copywriter servicing coaches, consultants, business owners. Too broad, perhaps. That's not too broad. Well, so that's more of the offer. Now we got to figure out your niche. But consultants and business owners might be the niche, but I want to double down further in that. But I think consultants and business owners, it's a big enough addressable market. Music marketing promotions. But do I have to be niche specific? It is helpful to pick a specific niche in the beginning. The reason why that is because every niche, a niche is just a group of people who are interested in the same thing. And the people who are interested in that thing have a certain way of talking about it and communicating it. If you've ever had someone who comes to you and speaks language, like, what does that guy mean? I don't think he's like us. It's because he speaks a different language. It's the same thing in a niche. You have what's called jargon, those specific sayings or things to let you know that it's the unspoken way of saying that you know what they know. You're part of that crowd. So having one niche in the beginning is helpful. You can move niches, but having one niche is very, very helpful. Still figuring it out in my own life coaching. So life coaching, that's a service, that's an offer. Now we got to figure out who you're giving life coaches to. Is it for, divorced dads? Is it for, couples relationships? Is it for CEOs who want to further development or become better managers? So some people lead with that. Once again, they're a life coach or I am a copywriter. That is starting with your offer, which is the next level down. That is what you help these people with. You provide life coaching, but you have to figure out who you're providing it to. Once again, that's a place where sometimes people go, okay, moms get lost and frustrated. Yeah, so perfect. That's a prime example of a niche. Partners in committed relationships, specifically 25 to 39, 200K per year. That is good. That is good. Prime example. So, okay. So once you understand your niche, the thing you need to understand is the problem that they have. So if you're doing an AI marketing agency, for example, the problem is that they are bad at marketing. Let's say you're helping small family-run businesses. They know the service. They're not the best at marketing. For example, my client or my neighbor, not my client, my neighbor who was doing the medical manufacturing, he was good at marketing through in-person events. He would go to industry conferences locally talking about, medical supplies and innovations. He would put up his stand and he was one of the only people in there talking about, hey, I produce these very specific medical things. If you guys need this, we're willing to make them. And he got a lot of traffic that way. Did he run a lot of paid ads? No, he didn't need to. A lot of his customers weren't there. He probably could have, and he would have been successful. He didn't need to. He had enough business off referrals to not even really need to do that much marketing, honestly. Once people figured out he did that, that's how you know you're solving a good problem. If you ever get referrals from what it is you do, you solve a really important problem. If you don't have to market, once somebody who's had that problem solved goes to their friends and say, hey, he solved this problem. For example, I'm traveling and I have a friend who does immigration visas for the country I'm in, and I don't know a lot of immigration lawyers, and I've been able to refer maybe 2-3 people. It's a very specific problem, and he doesn't provide any of the services. All he does is make sure the country is cool with you staying there for extended periods of time. Really good services. So understand your problem. So if you guys have a pen and paper right now, go ahead and write that down. What is the problem that these people have in your niche? What is the problem? Now, it doesn't need to be a very specific problem. It can be. If you can get more specific. I'll talk about your offer. The offer in the moment, we're going to talk about problems and sort of the ascension of problems. But start with a high-level problem. What is a high-level problem that someone in your niche has, right? For yourself. They must have a problem. Physical and emotional stress, lack of touch, relationship disconnection. That is good. So physical and emotional stress, staffing shortage. Go ahead, drop them in the chat. I was going to have you guys write, but I actually like seeing the responses. Go ahead, drop them in the chat. Staffing shortage. Yes. So not having enough people. That is a very big problem. If you're on the problem of having enough people, it can be great for good signs for business, but sometimes really difficult. If you guys know the problems for the industry you're in, for a pair of you in music and marketing, Marina, you are investors in IT. That's if you're comfortable sharing it. Negative emotions and enjoying life. Lead generation. Yep. So getting more clients. Restaurants, real estate. Comfortable sharing your problems, drop them in the chat. If not, just note it down for yourself. Now, the problem doesn't need to be anything really special just yet. I'm going to talk about solving special problems, but for now, you just need a problem. And now, once you know what that is, never lose sight of that. You should always lead with the fact you solve this. It's never about, hey, I have the best method and mechanism for solving it. It's no, hey, I solve it quickly. I'll get that solved for you today. No time to create digital content. Good. Okay, we'll free up time. So that's exactly it. So never get too caught in how you're going about solving it. It doesn't matter how you solve it. All they care about is that it's solved. If I have a hole in the wall and I call a contractor, I don't care what kind of plaster he uses. I don't care what kind of clothes he's wearing. All I care is that after I pay him X amount of money, that hole is gone and it doesn't even look like it was there. Your customers are the exact same way. They just want to know it's solved. Cool. So coming to the next stage, they don't have a brand and digital space for their business that is generating new revenue, keeping sneakers clean and protecting them. Yep. So keeping sneakers clean. So that's something they want. I would say the problem is that their sneakers get dirty, or they don't know how to improperly storing them. There's a really big difference between talking about what people want and the problem you solve. What is the problem that causes that? Why can't they keep these sneakers clean and protecting them? You know, there's companies out there that do a lot of revenue that are just those sneaker cleaning things. And it's not because they clean the sneakers, because they just provide the solution to the problem, which is, hey, your shoes are dirty. Here's a way to clean them. Now, whether Marcus cleans them or whether you clean them yourself doesn't make no difference. All they care is that their sneakers are clean. So there's really finite differences. And this is where we talk about angles. Understanding the angle to which you're solving the problem is really important. But before going there, okay, for those of you guys that dropped in the chat, really love that. Thank you guys. Once again, appreciate you guys being on here. Coming to your offer. So if you know your offer, so if you guys know your niche, you know the problem, the offer is what you give them to solve that. That is the actual, you get X, Y, and Z, therefore your problem is solved. If you know your offer, drop it in the chat. If not, stay still figuring it out. It's all right if you don't know it. To the level of awareness you have, go ahead and put your offer in the chat if you know it. If not, still figuring it out. Now, your offer is not the specifics of the pricing. That's more in your angle. It's not the specifics, hey, you get it quickly in one day. It's just, this is what I give you to solve that problem. Still figuring it out. No worries. So some of the things I say, you guys might sometimes think that, oh, it might be tricky to follow, but it's because I really want to break it down to really simple principles, because this is where a lot of people go off. It's like, I've been doing a lot of sales coaching, sales training, and I run into so many reps who are like, what tactic do I say? How do I get someone to agree to this? How do I get someone to find this? It's like, what is the problem that they are facing right now? Well, they want more money. Okay, but what is the problem? Oh, they don't know how to make money. Okay. Did you provide them a solution to making more money? No, I told them how good we are at making more money. Oh, okay. But like, how does that resolve to the problem they have? He doesn't know. Okay, well, do you make it easy for him to learn? Yes, we do. Why didn't you tell him? We're really good at making it easy for you to learn how to make money. That's more of selling than anything else. Putting your focus in the right place will get you further than most other things. So I love it. Getting targeted leads. That's what you give them. Great, great, great. Masa Vinci Flow, we're tech partners, how to master the art of irresistible massage techniques used by professionals online at home. Okay, so I would pivot that. And for those of you guys who put this in the chat, you guys are really courageous. Thank you. It's not easy to put that information in the chat or write it out. So we teach, so what do we give them? We teach partners how to master the art of irresistible massage techniques used by professionals. Okay, good offer. So use 10 years of experience in corporate and private sector to create high converting copies so you can focus on how to scale your business. Okay. Providing safe, reliable, dependable staffing at moment's notice. Okay. So coming to the offer. So once we know the problem, then let's talk about the offer. So you have, I would say, essentially 4 different layers of creating a really compelling offer for someone. There's a lot of different methodologies, but this is a pretty simple one to put into place. So you want to start with the problem. So we solve the problem. How do we solve the problem? So let's say, for example, business owner doesn't need, they need marketing leads. So, or they're bad at marketing. The problem is they're bad at marketing. The solution is I get you leads. Okay, that's a solution that applies to a lot of people, but how can we make that offer better? I get you leads that have the desire to buy. They're ready to pay money. Okay, that's good, but how can we go more specific? I'm going to get you leads that have the desire to buy a very specific solution, like my neighbor who did the manufacturing. Okay, I know how to, I can manufacture this product, a very specific product that can manufacture. So very specific solution. Okay, that's more appetizing. And 4, I can get you leads that have a desire to buy a very specific problem today. People that want to spend money now. Provide leads in the market for reconstruction. Okay, I can provide you leads that want to spend money for reconstruction. I can provide you leads that have between X, Y, this price and budget to spend money for reconstruction. I can get you high net worth individual leads wanting reconstruction. So how can you make that offer more compelling for these people? The problem is, well, they don't have good enough leads. Well, I can get you leads, people who are making good income, who need reconstruction for swimming pools. Maybe they're a swimming pool contractor and they need something very specific. So that's how you can make your offer more compelling. And now what the next thing you need to understand about your offer is how you're going to charge for it. So once again, this is what you're giving people. So I'm going to get you leads that have the desire to pay a lot of money for a very specific solution today. And we do that because we charge upfront, or we do it on a success basis. So I want to go on a little tangent of how to actually structure your pricing, because some of you guys, that's another really common question. Well, now that I have these tools and services, how do I actually charge for it? If you guys have done marketing before, sold services before, this is your first time, this is probably the most mystical of questions. How do I charge for what I have to offer? How do I get people to pay high prices for what I do? Or how do I get comfortable charging high prices for what I do? So you've got two pricing models, two core pricing models. Success-based, meaning they don't pay anything until you get them results, or upfront fee. Well, before I go here, thank you guys for dropping in the chat. You guys don't have to keep writing your offers in the chat. Really appreciate it. We're going to talk about pricing, talk about angles, how to get comfortable with high price. Yes, this is something that I almost everyone who's, even people I know who work in sales and aren't even providing the product they solve, they get stuck with this. How do I ask somebody for 5,000 a month, 10,000 a month, 20,000 a month, or how do I ask a lot of people for that money in bulk? And so getting comfortable asking high prices is going to be your success. Talk about my neighbor for a moment is able to exit. It's like, not only was he able to manufacture the specific solution, but he was able to comfortably raise his prices over time as he got recognized for being good for it. One way that you can do that is have so much demand that the best way you weed out customers is just by charging more. That's really the best place to be in. I've got so many people coming to me to ask for this service. If you want to get my time and attention solving this, I'm going to need more money than the next guy. You create a bidding war for yourself. That is one way. Two is just you understand how you can naturally get yourself comfortable with it. Hoping that you'll get enough demand right out the gate it's possible, but it's very difficult. I wouldn't predicate on that. I'd rather teach you guys how to get comfortable showing up to the table, showing up to the conversation, saying, hey, it's going to be $10,000 a month plus 5% of whatever we create for you, and be comfortable with that and having your clients happy to pay that. One thing to understand about high prices is that people like spending money. People love buying expensive things. When was the last time, drop something in the, what was the last expensive thing you bought that you felt good about? If you guys want to drop that in the chat. I think for me, it was a vacation. I think I'd gone on a trip to I'd gone on a trip to South America, and it was expensive, but I felt good doing it because I knew I was going to get my money's worth. And when I left, I felt great. I had the experiences. A drone, prime example. What was the last thing you guys bought that you felt good about? And if you haven't bought something expensive that you feel good about, that is part of the reason why you might feel uncomfortable charging high prices. It's just not something you've experienced. And hey, everybody starts somewhere with it. But part of that is like, you got to get comfortable doing it. And part of getting comfortable doing is, one, having done it and realizing, oh, it's not as bad as it seems. And then being comfortable, providing that for others. My NLP loves coaching certificate. Love it. Love it. Neuro-linguistic program. If you're good in NLP, that'll definitely help in the sales conversations. So for those of you guys, whether you want to share it in the chat or not, if you're comfortable or not, understand that if you haven't bought something expensive and felt good about it after the fact, it might be part of the reason why charging high prices might be difficult. Not saying it's the full reason, but it's just something to think about. It's food for thought. If you can wrap your head around that, it definitely helps. If you're comfortable spending lots of money, guarantee you'll be more comfortable asking people for lots of money because you know that money's abundant. So coming to the charging models itself, success-based pricing, meaning they don't pay until you get them results. So you're going to put yourself in the line. Hey, I'm going to get you qualified leads, but I'm not going to charge you for it until I get you a lead. Until I get you someone who says, hey, I'm interested, don't pay me a cent. I'll provide the services. Once I'm getting you results, then you pay me. So that's a really good way to get comfortable charging high prices. Because you could also say, if you know your leads are good, you could start to say, hey, look, your first 5 leads are going to be $500. Now, you don't know if they're worth $500, but let's say they come in and they're good, and you say your first 5 and they're comfortable with your first 5. They don't know what you're going to charge for the rest of them. You could say, okay, now that we got the first 5, you know that they're good, the next ones are going to be $1,000, and they'll be that much more comfortable spending good money with you once you've been able to build that trust and be able to provide results. So that's a prime example of how to do success fee. Then there is upfront fee. For those of you guys that don't want to risk your time, or for those of you guys who have experience and feel like you're comfortable with it, you can charge someone ask someone upfront for money. And so if you haven't asked someone upfront for money before and you're kicking it around, here are some tactics to make it easier for someone to want to spend money with you. The first question to ask yourself is, have you solved this before? That's probably one of the biggest things that they're going to be looking at is in the variant, whether they're going to pay you upfront. Has this person solved this problem before? Am I going to risk money with this person? If I pay them, what are the odds they've done this? And this is where I say principle number 1, be really consistent, be known for a long time doing it. Because if you have that piece down, they won't even ask you that question. And 2, be the most well-known for doing it. That's also going to leave that. Have you solved this before? If you have and you're comfortable in it, that's good. If your client knows you have and they're comfortable with that fact, even better. And then 2, now, if you've solved it before, does your client believe in your ability to solve it? And honestly, for some of you guys, if you can master just getting people to believe in your ability to solve it, that sometimes is more than enough, even if you haven't solved it before. Just getting someone to believe, mastering your perception, mastering your branding, mastering your own marketing. If you're so well marketed or so well known for something, regardless of how much success you've had with it, without a doubt, you know what you're doing. And there's a lot of people who get really big like that. There's the whole saying, fake it till you make it, really common. So be comfortable with that fact that, it's not always about just me conveying that I'm good at it, knowing that I'm good at it. It's about, well, if I really believe it, how can I get them to believe it as much as I do? Because I want to charge this guy up front. Getting people to believe in your ability to solve it is actually probably the easiest approach to take to getting comfortable with upfront prices. This is the easiest to fix. Social proof is easy to create. We're in 2021 where you can go on LinkedIn and create a LinkedIn page that looks really legit and official. You can hire someone off Fiverr or Upwork to make you a website. You can create your own website now with the website builds and look really professional. You can get your own social media on point. And these are things that if you're not using them, you should. I mean, this is sort of the hygiene standard. We're in 2023. This is marketing. This is online marketing. If you're going to want to get really good at what you do, if you look at the hype that was in crypto, I mean, a lot of crypto wasn't anything specific, but there was so much marketing and other people believing in it that's why these coins got insane value. So if you can use that a little bit for yourself in the small market for that one guy you need to convince that you're good at what you do, it's not too difficult. And I guarantee that it's probably not as hard as it thinks. This is just some food for thought. We'll give you more specific tactics on that.
And I'll quickly jump in there, guys. So what Kaleb is saying here is, if you don't have that experience behind your back and you're wanting to get out there, and you can deliver that value, of course, right? It's if you like actually getting out there and providing and knowing you can make that value and succeed for the client you have, then absolutely utilize what Kaleb is talking about. And also just to throw in there as well, if that is a way you're cracking into this incredibly, competitive environment, utilize that. And another lever or leverage to help you as well is have a good refund policy as well, so they feel more comfortable taking you on. Because if you deliver, you should never have to utilize a refund policy. But it's just a couple of levers that can help you get ahead in this game, right? So throw that one in there.
No, that is absolutely golden. And to parlay on that, I'd literally just say, look, and also part of, I think, that comfort and knowing that you can charge up front is knowing that you are just a fun person to work with, and that regardless of whether it works or not, your client is probably happier going on that journey and working with you than they are not. If you look at venture capital, private equity, big money guys, when they place money into small founders or people who don't have the best businesses yet or the largest market share yet, it's more about the fact that those investors believe in that person and would rather have fun watching, like a spectator sport, that person try really hard to solve a problem than the other guy. The difference between the person who gets that investment and who doesn't is like, look, whether this wins or fails, we just really like working with them. And some of you guys might not be super charismatic, right? Once again, I want to make sure that this applies to everybody, whether you're extroverted or introverted. But part of just getting the deal is also being, okay, well, they look the professional and they've told me a lot about them. I know other people know a lot about them, and they seem like really fun to work with. So whether this wins or loses, I mean, at least I got this person with me, and I'll get my time. But another part of the fact that if you can relax with your client and offer, those types of policies where, look, hey man, success fee only. If it doesn't work, you just keep what it is that we built. We don't charge you anything. Or upfront free. Look, we want $10,000 upfront for your first month. And if we don't get results, heck, we'll refund it to you. You'll find sometimes your clients won't even exercise that because they will have liked the experience so much with you. And that sometimes is a lot of reason why you can win business as well. So understanding your are you getting them paying leads? So it's like, how far are you going down and providing value for them? I'm going to solve your problem. I'm going to solve your problem with people who are really good fit. I'm going to solve your problem who are really good fit and want your business specifically. So another specific solution could be specific. It's just another layer of specificity to it. So it's like, I'm going to get you chiropractor clients. I'm going to get you chiropractor clients that want to spend money. I'm going to get you chiropractor clients that want to spend money that are in your town. And I'm going to get you chiropractor clients who want to spend money that are in your town who have bad back pain and need to be fixed tonight. That's the most value that you could provide someone as a solution today. Coming to your angle. So once you understand your offer, now it's okay. So let's say you have a problem. So you have your problem, you have your solution. Okay. Business owners aren't good at marketing. So I provide marketing service. I do lead gen. I'm going to get people high paying clients. Well, now you've got competition. Just about every good market has competition. So understanding your angle. One thing to understand about competition, if you don't know this already, competition is good. Competition means there's a lot of money being spent there. Markets where nobody's spending money are not competitive because there's no money to be made. Markets where there's competition is there because everyone's there trying to make money. So don't be afraid of competition. It's a sign that money is flowing there. There's a lot of AI solutions out there. That's why we enter this space, is because a lot of people who are in this space wanting what we have to offer. And we're also pretty damn good at it. So understanding your angle. Don't worry about competition. You just have to have your specific to it. So your angle is how you market yourself. It's a product of your niche and your offer. This is your business, your angle. So for examples, getting your angle specific. So I help dentists get cash pay customers in need of specialized oral surgery. Very specific angle to that, as opposed to, I mean, you could pivot that where it's like I help, and this also can help you if you guys want a niche shop. You could do dentists, you could do I help chiropractors get cash pay clients in need of specialized, back surgery. I help private concierge childcare providers get cash pay customers in need of specialized childcare. So if you understand your offer and you kind of get your angle of what it is, I get a specific type of customer who needs a specific type of solution, then you can just kind of roll from industry to industry with it. You can find that every industry is kind of the same. But what you need is an angle that makes sense, or an angle that is unique, or an angle that stands out. For example, Alex will teach you a bit about this, probably maybe a little better than I would, because he's more so marketing. I'm more so with sales. I can teach you, what you need to say to the client, how you get them over the line. But talking about magic hooks, if you guys have the tool, play around with the magic hooks tool. This will pretty much give you a lot of the examples of, how you can take, okay, I help these people and I provide this solution to them. I solve this problem for this, and this is how I provide it. Give that to the magic hooks tool and it will spit out a bunch of them for you. Okay, I help construction owners prepare succession plans for businesses I help construction owners ages 60 to 70 set up their succession plans so that they can have a happy retirement. Very specific angle to it, as opposed to I help buy construction companies. So you can offer the same thing, just change the angle on it. And if you're needing help with coming up with ideas for that, use the magic angle tool. Another example is I help small businesses get positive reviews on Google. So that's your offer, and that's sort of your angle. I help small businesses. It's a bit broad. I help chiropractic businesses get positive reviews on Google. I help life coaching businesses get positive reviews on Google from existing clients. I help chiropractors get positive reviews on Google from past clients. So play around with your angle, or understand your angles. Come up with a couple different angles. I recommend that probably be a homework assignment for yourself, is write out how many different ways can you explain or tell somebody you provide this solution. So for example, if you did the dentist get cash pay clients, I help dentists get high net worth clients in need of specialized oral surgery, cash pay clients, people who are foreigners or rich foreigners in need of specialized oral surgeons. I help dentists get customers fly from overseas to come work and get a specific surgery done. How can you provide, or what are different ways you can tell them you provide the same offer? And sometimes some of those will click better than others. The reason why is when we bring those out to the market, the angle that people are interested in, they'll respond to. It'll get better clicks. It'll get better engagement. It's like, well, I've had a lot of people tell me they can get me high paying clients, but I haven't had anybody tell me they can get me somebody from overseas. I didn't have anybody tell me they Prince to come over. Now, it's just an example. I'm not saying exactly, but the point being is, like, you kind of want to have that angle where you're providing the same service. What do? Well, you run ads the same way, you provide the service the same way, you act the same way, but you just tell people you do it differently, or you tell people, hey, I specialize on this angle specifically. Oh, that's something new. I'm interested in that. And then lastly, we've got client attraction. So you guys don't need to have full clarity on this now. I recommend you think about these and potentially pick your favorite. I am going to ask you guys a question in a moment. But client attraction, how are you going to get attention? Now, your industry can switch. Your niche can switch. You can kind of move niches. You can try to move industries depending on your offer and how you're helping people. Not always. I recommend starting with one niche first. You must pick one way you're going to get attention. And the reason why is, once again, all of the methods work. Coming back to one of the principles, all of the prospecting methods work, even in the most competitive industries. It's not your method that doesn't work. It's most likely a combination of your offer and your angle, what you are saying and how consistent you are, and telling more people you provide it. Those are the things that are going to prevent your client attraction from working. It's not the fact that I'm doing cold calls or cold emails or social media in-person networking. It's not that I'm bad at any one of those. It's just when you're doing that in-person networking, everybody in the room doesn't know about you. You're not doing enough in-person networking events, or you haven't been doing them long enough. When you're doing social media, it's not the fact that, oh, people don't want what it is to offer. No, you're not showing up in enough people's feeds. You're not making enough noise, and you haven't been doing it long enough. Same thing with cold emails. My cold email angles doesn't work. Well, are your offer and your angle on point? And if that, how long have you been doing emails for, and how many emails do you send a day? Are you emailing everybody? Same thing with calls. So it's never the client attraction method that breaks. It's always what goes into that client attraction method. This is a place where a lot of people go wrong. So same thing I would sales call, which is, it's not what you're saying, it's how you're saying it, or how well you're relaying it, or how well you're addressing it. I have a marketing brand in a building called Unbound Unicorn. I'm trying to stand out with the brand that can work with multiple niches. If I wanted to start with health, say real estate niche, what do you think my brand name will be a problem? Yes and no. So I find that company names and brand names can sometimes be a help or a hindrance, but it doesn't matter. Like if your company is called, Dave's Crazy, but you provide, a really simple cure to cancer, people want the solution to the problem. It doesn't matter who's giving it to them. I mean, SpaceX or Tesla. I mean, what do those really mean? I mean, yeah, the name's all right, but don't worry too much about the name of your company. Focus on how you are telling them, hey, I'm from Unbound Unicorns, and we solve this very specific problem in healthcare. Huh. Okay, we solve this very specific problem in healthcare, and we're going to provide you these specialized, or we're going to get you exactly what you need quickly. Now you got their attention. It's just about how you get their attention. You play around with your offer and your angle. You just try new offers, try new angles, and just keep throwing those out at the market and blast for a really, really long time. You eventually get customers. And also another thing to understand is you got to get comfortable with different offers at different angles, because one angle to customer A and one angle to customer B, even if it's the same offer, will sometimes get you two sales. They bought for different reasons. Customer A, same thing with the hole in the wall. Let's say I am that guy that does care about what kind of spackle and paint you're using, as opposed to the guy who just wants it fixed. Well, they're both customers and you provide the same service. You just told one thing, hey, I'm going to specialize in making sure you have the best products. The other one's, hey, I'm just going to make sure it gets done quickly. As a business, you got to be comfortable. Sometimes you're getting customers. People will buy for different reasons. To think all your customers buy the same way is false. This is also why with client attraction, you should pick one until you get good at it and then add others. Why do you think people run paid ads and also do cold emails and also post on social media? Some people buy off social media. Some people buy off the ads. Some people buy off the emails. But this is a volume. How can you get more volume? Maybe take cold calls or cold emails as far as you can. You need more volume. You need more distribution. Don't stop the emails. Keep emailing. Add something else. Get more volume. Get more distribution. Play around with more angles. So it's never about doing less. It's always about doing more consistently, getting more of you out there consistently for the longer period of time. Those are outbound. Last, we're going to talk about inbounds. You got ads, social media, and referrals. There's other ones here that I failed to name, but that's all I really want to cover today. It's just the principles. So your homework, understand your niche, understand your offer. Try around with a couple different angles. How many different ways can you explain the same offer to people? How many different ways can you package the same offer to people? And then how you want to get attention to begin. That's your 1.0 sales machine. I say it's 1.0 because you'll pivot this. You'll do the same process for every business that you start, every angle you go in. It's the same process.